Hey, everybody, we're back. This is Two Legs. It's the live edition of Two Legs. Hope you all had a good week since the last time we went live. We came back with new shows and we're up and back running. We had a nice little break, but now the wheels are turning again. Andy, what's going on?
Yeah, good evening, partner, and good to do some new content again. Had a good interview with
Right.
Steve Schnee. That'll be
Yeah,
posted for Saturday, where we discussed Back to the Egg, which is a
back to the egg.
really fun episode. And new shows are planned, and it's almost like the beginning of like the old days of television, where the new
Yeah,
season
it's
would
your
start in
season.
September.
Yep,
That's
yep.
kind of what it feels like a little bit. So it's and now we cap off a 3-week series with a great episode, which I've been looking forward to for a while.
This one's gonna be.
How many are we going to have? Any similar choices in the top 10? I'm thinking one.
Hey, Tom, I'm thinking we're going to have one or two of the same band or artist.
Agreed. And I think his first name starts with E and his last name starts with J.
Yeah. Okay, well, maybe three artists and bands. Maybe.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay.
Actually, no, well, we'll see how it goes. But
yeah, you're right. You're right.
yeah.
I got you.
But I'm really looking forward to this. I mean, these albums that I had for my top 10 are just albums that I just been listening to nonstop for decades. Just decades. I mean, as far back as the late 80s for me, because obviously it wasn't until the mid 80s when I was really starting to get into music hot and heavy. Hey, knock knock, glad to see you. Thanks for being here. So yeah, it's just so many albums that you come across over the decades. Some of it impacted your life. Some you forgot about, and then you go back to it decades later. Like, what, to be honest with you, I haven't listened to Metallica's Black album, their 1991 release, and probably close to 20 years. And they just released the new remaster edition of that, and I listened to the other day, and I was like, oh man, I just why haven't I listened to this album in so long? I just I love it.
Takes you back, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Andy's gonna have at least one prog album here at least one. I'm banking on at least three.
I'll say nothing.
I bet she's gonna have at least three prog rock records.
How many metal records are some gonna have in the top 10?
I've got the. Well, I guess it just depends on what you call metal, I guess.
Okay.
but one definitely for sure.
I figured that for sure.
Yeah.
Just where does it fall in that top 10?
Yeah, is it hard rock or is it heavy
Right.
metal? It just depends on what you call it. But yeah, that definitely got some stuff again, and I think I only got only one of these albums went to number one on my list.
Really?
Yeah. The rest are top 10. They got one that didn't chart at all. So it's
a mixed bag. So what we're going to do too, Tom and I talked before we went on. Before we announce our number one album, we're going to mention a couple of honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions, absolutely correct. Knock knock. That's a good question. And throughout their career,
I say no.
I still think they're hard rock myself.
Agreed.
And there's a difference.
I wouldn't classify Kiss as metal personally.
No, not at all.
Hard rock.
Yeah, there's a couple songs that you can maybe classify metal, but for the most part, throughout their career, I would say it's hard rock. So,
yeah.
But before we get started, Andy and I, we got something in the mail the other day.
Yeah.
This special deluxe edition of Press to Play at 35.
Yeah. That guy in Arizona got his signed by Hugh Padgham, that bastard. I didn't.
No, that makes up for getting the 4 weeks actually.
The month of I
know.
You can have little Hugh's signature as my crate sits over there.
Yeah, I know. Christian, how you doing, buddy? So this is a nice little piece. We will be reviewing it soon in the future. So like I said, we just got it in the mail yesterday, so we're just digging into it.
Yeah,
1,000 copies were made of these. All of them were signed by Paul Sinclair, but only 500 of the 1,000 were signed by Hugh Padgham, and I was
Yeah.
fortunate enough to get mine signed by Hugh Padgham. Now the thing is it looked like they described it as the first 500 were going to be signed by Hugh Padgham.
Right.
Okay. Then people started getting them in the mail, and they noticed that their numbers were above 500, and they still got them signed.
Which in your case that's
Right.
what it was.
Yeah. So I got 561, and mine was signed by Hugh. So now, when I posted this on Instagram yesterday, my cousin David, asked the question, the Super Deluxe, what was the deal with the signatures? And the reply was yes, 500 were signed, but it wasn't necessarily 1 to 500.
1 to 500. So they made
Right.
1,000, and they probably just randomized those 500.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So,
is this a forerunner of something coming down the line? Who knows?
see, and okay, now let's work on that for a second. I believe not, because if it was, McCartney probably would have want all that information that Hugh gave for that book in
his archive
book.
edition.
So that's why I think probably not.
Probably not. But
Yeah.
I mean, when that time comes, his team has all this information at the ready.
That's true.
They won't even need to call Hugh. They can just go to this.
Yes,
and we all know they ain't going to call Hugh anyway. They ain't going to call Hugh anyway.
We'll see about that. We'll see. Anyways, so like I said, it's good to be back. It's good to be live and hanging out with you guys. So we're gonna do 10 to 1.
10 to 1.
10 to 1 tonight. So it's our top 10 non-Beatles related albums. Wow, Andy, do you have an easy time with your top 10?
Pretty much. When we talked about this a few weeks ago, I remember the one weekend we were like, I think in 1 day, 1 or 2 days, we had our 30 pulled. So this was, I think you and I, pretty easy. It was ranking those back 20, which was a little bit difficult. But no, I had the top 10 locked and loaded for the last few weeks easily. And also, just another caveat, we were like, are we including compilations or greatest hits? Tom was like, well, if you feel it warrants it, yes. But I think generally he did not do that. I have one greatest hits collection in this 10, just because of the impact it had on me as a record. But
fair enough.
I understand Tom's point. If you're going to do best of, don't include compilations, which is a fair assessment.
Gotcha. All right, we'll hang out here for a couple minutes, see if anybody else joins us before we start this list. Anyways, but yeah, so there's another book coming out that I should be getting Friday. I think this was a UK release only, and this is another Paul McCartney Stories book, where they take I think it's like 100 songs or something like that. This author does, and tells the stories of the songs. Yeah, so I'll definitely be posting pictures of that when I get that. Hopefully it'll be Friday. But hey, Matt Smith, good to see you. See, now, Christian, here's the thing. Now it's sold out. It's completely sold out. This magazine that was released by Special Deluxe. So has been on the set for decades. Yeah, and that's the thing is
I think Tom and I would agree with that.
Yeah. Well, however, there's been some additions to this my top 10 that has happened over the last decade.
I was asking how recently. I should say, what's the album in there without giving it away that you put in there the most recently? Over the last I
definitely have. Yeah, I mean, it was a couple years. It was probably 5 or 6 years ago.
Okay, so it's not like all 10 have been set for like 30 years.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right.
This is a brand new top 10 that has pretty much been set in stone for like the last 10 years.
For the most part,
give or take. Now I have some, my 2 favorite 90s albums are in this top 10. These albums I've just been listening to nonstop ever since they've came out. It is 70s heavy. I'll give that away.
It is okay.
Yes. Oh, it's very 70s heavy. And I would probably go on record as saying that 70s is my favorite decade of music.
Yeah, I think actually just all but one of mine is all from the 70s as well.
Wow.
Yeah, all but mine is all from the 70s. Wow.
Wow, Tom, his latest top 10 from the LP is from 82. Wow. And that's cool. Yeah.
What album is that, if I may ask, Tom Brennan Jr., if you can chime in? I'm curious what that album is. Thriller? Tug of War? Well, if we're not counting Beatles.
Yeah, we're not counting Beatles. Yeah.
Tell
And
us.
same for Matt. His top 10 is from the 80s as well, or his most recent
It
from the
is.
mid
Tell
80s.
us. Tell us before we
Yeah.
dive in here, if you guys don't
Mm.
mind. Yeah. So whose turn is it to start this week? Asia. Listen, that self-titled Asia record is tremendous. Soul Survivor, One Step Closer. Oh, that's a ELP Yes offshoot. Oh God, the best. The best.
It was the heat of the moment.
Yeah, and that was the hit, but there's so many other better songs.
I like the other one too. You're leaving now.
Only time
Only time will tell. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
great album. Great album.
Great track. Oh, Oliver, there you go. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, Social Secret, Springchild Surgery, and Odyssey and Oracle. That made an appearance last week on I believe it was my number 11.
Kidding.
It did. Matt Smith's trying to keep the suspense. Okay.
All right.
Go ahead, partner.
We're gonna get started here. We're gonna get started. Okay. My number 10 album, discovered in the late 80s. Listened to it nonstop on cassettes. Then bought it on CD. Listened to it nonstop. Still listening to this album nonstop, and that is people say 2 or 4, and I go 2.
Win.
I go 2. Led Zeppelin 2 is the shit. This is hard rock at its finest.
Awesome.
The Lemon song just kills it. Whole Lot of Love obviously is the staple on radio that you're going to hear on classic rock radio all the time. What should never
thank
be.
you. You'll hear on radio too, and Randall.
Thank you. Yeah, but they're the lighter tracks of it. I mean, I'm talking about the hard hitting like Heartbreaker. Living Loving. Living Loving Made. And even Moby Dick. Is still fun.
How good is what should never be? Oh my God!
Brilliant.
If I say to you tomorrow. Oh man, that is a crank it to 100.
Right. But for me these days, I mean, the song I probably listen to the most. If I got this in the car and put the CD in, I'm gonna go straight to the Lemon song. That is just my jam. Yeah, I mean, I play the whole album. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just going to play Lemon Song first and then go back to 1 and then, hear it all over again. Because, I mean, the Lemon Song for me is just, it's just the perfect hard rock song, with the lyrics, suggestive lyrics. I mean, we all know what he's really talking about when he's squeezing my lemon, but it's just a fantastic record. October of '69 on Atlantic Record. This is their second album of the year, actually. I think the first one came out earlier in '69. So for me, my top number 10 is
now that looks like that's definitely a repressing, Tom.
It's definitely repressing. And real quick, I just want to say, Serge, I so wanted to put Herb Whipped Cream in my top 30, but unfortunately it just didn't make it. So I say more power to you for adding some Herb Alpert into your top 10.
Herb Alpert, that's great.
Yeah. Now Oliver, on the other hand, I can't help you.
He hates the Monkees.
I can't help you there, buddy. But anyways, Led Zeppelin 2 is my number 10 record.
Can't go wrong with that. That was in my 11 through 20 last week.
That's right. You had it last week.
And my copy, of course, is not a repressing. It's a Dad Nichols original from 1969. Right. So
nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. My number 10. Somebody mentioned it already in the chat.
Really?
And yeah, I saw it in the comments before. And that is number 10 for me, 1973's Brain Salad Surgery by ELP.
Look at that. Wow.
By ELP with the weird cover by Geiger that opens up like this. Let's see, old beat up copy. Only paid a couple bucks for it from the 70s. Right. But man, Brain Salad Surgery is the epicness of what ELP was. Okay. The sidelong Carnival 9, which actually was longer than a whole side, over a half hour. This is ELP at its most bombastic, most loudest. Emerson kicking it off with the English traditional standard Jerusalem, which is just incredible. Still You Turn Me On. and then Toccata. But Carnival 9 is, I mean, it actually takes up half the side of one and all of side two, and all you ever hear is of course, the 3 or 4 minute hit version. The Welcome Back, My Friend. That song.
Yeah. The show
Which,
that never ends. Yeah.
right, which is only just a small segment. It's the
Right.
second impression of a
Right.
3-part song,
Right.
which is that song just goes all kinds of craziness into crazy drumming and a big
Right.
grand finish and basically about computers taking over the world, which
Okay.
which was kind of true 30,
Right.
40 some odd years ago. And yeah, ELP. This is probably their high watermark, of course. Tom Brennan, the 5.1 mix of brain salad surgery. Yeah, that's awesome too. That's
Yeah.
also been redone. But yeah, this one easily, it's an album I probably discovered in the last, I was late to ELP. Wasn't it was more Genesis and Yes, but hell of a record. And I'm sure it's in a couple people's lists too. Number 10, Brain Salad Surgery.
Excellent. Now let's talk about that album cover for a minute. That was such a cool album cover.
Yeah, so like this.
Loved it. And that's the artist that did the Alien stuff. Was that, I forget,
Geiger.
Geiger. Thank you. Yes.
Geiger. Yeah.
Yes.
And
great stuff.
Really wild cover that opens up like that.
Right. That's awesome. Robert S., how you doing, my friend? Thanks for showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good start, man. Really good start.
Good start.
Yeah. So my kind of curveball here. This is the album that's the newest of the bunch, and this is from April '96. I've shown some soul, some souls in the last 2 episodes. This is by far my most favorite soul record. Not only is it soul, but it's romantic, it's smooth, it's sexy. And it's by a man named Maxwell, and this album is called Maxwell's Urban Hang Suite. Now, this is very new and very retro. It's a combination of the two, which I find very fascinating. It works very well, and this is,
it's from '96, Tom.
This is from 1996. This is like Curtis, Stevie, Barry White, all rolled into one musically, and even some Marvin Gaye.
And think about that too. For like the mid '90s, that's a tough sell for that kind of genre.
Oh, exactly. Now, especially if you're a fan of retro sounding soul music, which I am. I was just blown away by this singer, who is just an incredibly smooth singer. And I've had many of wonderful nights with this album. I won't get into too much more than that, but very sexy, very, very just romantic record. And if you are a fan of the 70s soul, I definitely think that you should try and listen to Maxwell's Urban Hang Suite from 1996. This is from Columbia. This is his debut album, and it's just really passionate. It's excellent. I can't speak highly enough about
that.
Now,
how did you discover that in '96? CD,
video.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard I saw the video of one of the songs on MTV, and again was just blown away by it. Then I was hearing it in some clubs that I would frequent from time to time, and I just then I bought the album and was just blown away. Just this whole thing is just it's a great record. I play it nonstop.
Well, you love your soul, and I'm not surprised to see that an entry like that high up. So that's cool, brother.
So that's my second favorite album from the '90s.
Second favorite. I'm sure we'll see the first soon.
Yes.
All right. Well, here's that compilation that I kept talking about, which is gonna make its appearance.
About this.
Which is gonna make its appearance now. You're gonna be like,
uh-oh. Andy froze. All right, unfortunately, this is going to happen from time to time. Sorry about it, guys, but Andy's going to have to go away here in a second, and then he will be right back. So until he unfreezes or come back, we'll just chat here for a minute. Oliver, Selling England by the Pound, very good. Not my pick, but I'm a fan of Selling England by the Pound. I worked a show. It was Sting and Peter Gabriel. They did a tour together. And oh, there you go. You're good. Okay.
I'm back. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so I was just telling Oliver his number 9 was selling England by the pound, and I got to work
Ah,
the Sting Peter Gabriel tour at the Hollywood Bowl. We did that show, and
they opened up with. Yep.
Sting sang a line from the what was the name of the song? I can't remember the name of the
Dancing with
song.
the Moonlit Night.
Yeah. Can you tell me? Can you tell me where my future lies? Or so? Is
Can
that
you
the
tell me
line?
where my country lies? Cried the
Country lies.
unicorn.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank
cried the
you.
unicorn
Yes.
to his.
Yes.
Yes, great. And
Yeah.
that was pretty cool. But
Yeah. And
I,
Sting sang it really well too.
yeah, and I've
Yeah.
seen YouTube clips of that. And
Yeah.
it's just too bad
Yeah.
Gabriel didn't really just get out there and do the whole thing.
Right. Exactly.
And with
But it was
where the
kind of
whole
cool. Yeah, it was kind of cool. Cool concept to where they sang each other's songs a little bit. On the
right.
tour.
And
You
you
know.
that's the tour you worked at? You worked that tour,
Yeah.
Tom?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Oh, awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. So I was talking about the compilation album as my number 9, and
Yeah. So go
Tom,
ahead.
I
Yeah.
don't think he's gonna like this because he loves this band too, and I do too. But this is more for a musical memory. It's probably the first record I ever heard as a kid and liked, and that's why
Right.
this is up here. And that would be this one right here.
Ah,
Yeah,
very good.
Yeah. It's listen. This is the only greatest hits. Chicago's greatest hits. Chicago 9. Probably the first. My earliest musical memory is this album. Listening to this
Okay.
album, start to
Right.
finish. Now, of course, I've listened to Chicago all through then, all the albums, probably the 70s and some 80s, and the first album being so great. Did you get
Right.
that remix too, Tom? That or no? This the
No, I
first
didn't get the
album.
remix.
Okay,
I mean, I got the reissue, but I didn't know if it was remixed or not.
it was remixed by Stephen Wilson for 50th
Oh,
anniversary. I wasn't
okay.
sure if
I'll
you
have to
got
double
that.
check because I think I did get a reissue before the 50th anniversary.
Now, I'll tell you what's amazing about this, that if you only know the single edits, like "Make Me Smile"
Right.
and
Right.
does anybody know
Color
what
My
time it
World.
is, and "Color
Yeah.
My World," that's all you knew. Listening to them on the album is a totally different listening experience.
Right. Right.
Hearing all the extended intros for "Make Me Smile" and doesn't anybody know
Right.
what time it is? But I mean, you can't every song on here a hit. "Just You and Me," "Color My World," "Feeling Stronger
Oh
Every Day,"
yeah.
"Wishing You Were Here," "Call on Me," Beginnings. I mean, this is Matthew Smith. Yeah, he got that album. This is like everybody had this album at some point, right? Chicago 9.
And great cover.
God,
I love
great.
the cover is awesome.
The cover is great. I mean, they had a brand. They came up with it. They named most of their. I think every album except for a couple have numbers, right?
Hot Rocks,
Hot,
and Chicago,
hot,
and no, Hot Street. I'm sorry, Hot Street,
Hot Street, Hot
and then
Street,
Chicago
and
Transit Authority.
right, the first one, right? But
Yeah.
everything else had a number, right?
Right.
For the most part. But
For the
yeah,
most
just
part.
a classic. What a classic band, and I was really pleased to find that Tom's a really big Chicago fan, hanging out with him and stuff like that. So again, it was the first thing I ever really liked as a kid. And again, FM staple for sure, but
Right.
maybe a bit of an obvious choice, a cheat, but Chicago's greatest hits, number 9 for me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
8.
Yeah. Robert S. 10. It was Elvis Costello's "This Year's Model." I love that. I think that was his second record, and then Simon and Garfunkel's "Bridge Over Troubled Waters." Yeah, absolutely
Oh, for sure.
excellent record. Can't go wrong there. Okay, my 7, and this is my favorite '90s
No,
record.
8, right?
No, I'm sorry.
8.
Yeah, 8. Thank
8.
you. Thank you. Number 8. This is my favorite '90s record. This is sometimes you have records that get you through hard times, or just lyrics just really mean, or
Sure.
have meaning to you or whatnot, and they just get you through happy times and sad times. And this is one of those records that did that for me. And this is an album called "Girlfriend" by Matthew Sweet.
Matthew Sweet. Cool.
Yes. Now this is that power pop category that our friend Stephen Schnee and Matthew Street are fans of. And this is from let me see, October of '91 from
Wait.
Zoo Entertainment. This is his third record.
Early 90s. Okay.
Yes, yeah, '91. This is and again, I discovered this record from the song "Girlfriend." The title track was a video on MTV. Got quite a bit of airplay on MTV, and that's where I discovered it. And just really loud crunching guitars, really meaningful ballads, some slower songs. There's a power pop is best. Thank you, knock knock. Yes, songs like Divine Intervention, I've Been Waiting, the title track Girlfriend, are great. Then there's some slower songs like Winona. There's a great track like I Thought I Knew You, which is exactly what it, the title is exactly what it
Means,
says.
yeah.
Yeah. I Wanted to Tell You, You Don't Love Me, obviously, again, another, heartfelt ballad. He did this song after, or he did this album after a divorce, so, sometimes all these feelings come out, after such a thing. So, but this is, probably the album I've listened to the most over the last, I would say, since 1991, 30 years.
Really?
Yeah, non-Beatles related.
No, of course, right.
Yeah, yeah. So this is it. This is October '91. My number 8, Girlfriend by Matthew Sweet.
Very cool, partner.
Hmm.
Number 8 for me. We're gonna go back to 1967, and we're gonna go to this baby right here, Days of Future Past,
right.
by the Moody Blues. Not their debut album, by the way. That would be the Magnificent Moodies from '65, but the first new album by the brand new version of the Moody Blues, including, of course, Justin Hayward and John Lodge to the band. Boy, what a great record this is. I got to see them perform it live for the 50th anniversary tour in 2017.
Excellent.
And that was incredible. Kind of, again, early forerunner of prog rock, but with a real orchestral feel. Of course, the big hit on here, Nights in White Satin, which became a hit again later in the early 70s. It wasn't really a big hit when it came out in 67. It became a big hit in 72 when it was reissued as a single. The other big hit on here, Tuesday Afternoon, which is what you always hear on the radio. Right. But the great thing about this album is that it's thematic, if you don't know it. Right. It basically, it starts with the day, and then it goes into the morning, and then lunch, and then the afternoon. So it's a concept album, full of poetry, all spoken by the drummer. A great album. Mike Pinder.
Is that who does the whole Breathe Deep?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that's the drummer. That's the drummer, Graham Edge on that. Doing that Breathe Deep, The Gathering Gloom, So
who's been with the band for a long time. I mean, he's one of the original members.
He's one of the original still members, and he's still with the band. He's the only founding member still with the band because Pinder retired, and of course, sadly, Ray Thomas, the wonderful flute player, he passed away almost 20 years ago now. So it's just. And of course, Denny Lane was in the first incarnation of the band, long gone by this point, along with Clint Warwick. But this album was a gamble for the band because it paid off. And man, it kind of gets your day going. If you sun rises, you throw this thing on, you listen to Dawn Is a Feeling, Peak Hour, which is just a great rocking song. Again, Forever Afternoon, which is actually called Tuesday, but they call it Tuesday Afternoon, Into the Sunset, Twilight Time, and then capping it off with the gold standard Nights in White Satin, which is just great. It's just a fantastic.
It's an iconic song, really. It's what for me. I mean, that song is up there with some of the all-time greats.
Awesome. Awesome. And I got a real big gamble for the band to do this, to do this record, and really starts off what is the core 7 of the Moody Blues. They've got 7 core albums, and it starts with this. And this is a great record. I'm sure some people have it in their list as well. So number 8, Days of Future Past.
Excellent. Oh, number 8 for Tom was Turnstiles, Billy Joel. You had that one last week, right?
I did.
Yeah, Matt has Who Sell Out at
you
number
had
8.
Who Sell Out, Matt Smith, and then Martinis and Bikinis, Sam Phillips by Knock Knock. Knock Knock. Cool.
Awesome. All right, 7.
7, now, partner.
I'm sure a lot of people were wondering when Kiss was going to pop up.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah. And this is my favorite Kiss record of all time. This is their third album. It's called Dressed to Kill from March of '75. This is the This was the
Third
album they
one?
did. Yeah, third album. This was the album they did before the Kiss Alive, the live record, which then they took off. They exploded. A
Exploded,
lot of
right.
a lot of those songs from this album were played on that live record, including the staple "Rock and Roll All Night," which diehard Kiss fans can't stand anymore. You
Of
know,
course.
and luckily it's the last song on the album, so you can always just lift the needle up when it gets to that. But this is just what Kiss is with music wise. Loud guitars, suggestive lyrics, and it's just a lot of fun. They're still trying to find themselves at this point in time. But the makeup is excellent. I love this album cover on the streets of
It's
New York,
very,
dressed
very
up.
very simply stated. Not a typical
Right.
Kiss album cover.
No, but it's excellent. It's really cool. But it starts off great with a song called Room Service, and then Two Timer, Ladies in Waiting. One of my favorite Kiss songs of all time on side two. It opens with Come On and Love Me, and then the great She. Yeah, so this is just has a lot of that raw power, that just raw early rock and roll, 70s rock and roll, kind of almost a little glammy as well.
75 song.
75. Yep, this is March of 75. So this is my favorite Kiss record. Again, this is one of those albums that I just listen to over and over and over again.
You know it so well, it's like in your DNA,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Just like pretty much all these albums in our top 10.
Records.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool cover. I've not seen that.
Yeah.
I've heard of those
cool.
songs, but
and it's
cool cover.
it's 3-minute rock and roll. Just get to the point. You're in, you're out, and just I think 10 songs. 30. All their albums were really brought around the 30-minute mark. And they've always
classic
said they
rock,
wanted
classic
rock.
and
Yeah,
roll.
and they said they
Classic
wanted to be
rock and
heavy metal Beatles is what they always wanted to be. But we always say they're hard rock, in my opinion.
Right. Let's catch up on some comments here. Let's see. Robert S had Fleetwood Mac Rumors as his number 8. Tom Brennan had Full Sail by Loggins and Messina at 7. Serge had The Royal Scam by Steely Dan, a great record. Matthew Smith had Pipe with the Gates of Dawn, the debut album by Pink Floyd, engineered by Beatles engineer, or produced by Beatles engineer Hurricane Smith. Mm-hmm. Correct. And then Robert S has, of course, Led Zeppelin 4.
Led Zeppelin 4. Yeah, so he went with 4. See, you get
2 or 4.
You get 20 or you get 40, Led Zeppelin fans in the room, and I would bet you that half of them were 4 and half of them were 2.
And you get those oddball people that choose 3 or
1, or physical graffiti. Yeah, exactly.
Physical graffiti. I could see double record.
Yeah.
7, Jamie Hayes, Tom Petty, Damn the Torpedoes, great album.
Yep.
Knock Knock has This Perfect World, Freddie Johnson, very cool.
Oh wow, cool.
Is this
I love the
8 for me or 7?
It's 7 for you. I mean, I love the crazy stuff that you wouldn't expect. You
wouldn't expect it, but if that's the record for you,
that's what I kind of like when I see these lists. I like people when they have like something that it's not necessarily a safe pick, if you will.
Right, you're gonna go, but if it's that important, if that you like it that much, then more power to you.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
All right, 7 for me. The first entry of the boys from California, the Beach Boys.
Okay.
And this would be their 1970 album, Sunflower, which is not the surf music. This is probably my favorite Beach Boys album of all time. A lot of people call in the UK, and the Beach Boys did much better in the UK. They call this the Beach Boys Sgt. Pepper. That's what they do in the UK.
Really?
That's how well the Beach Boys did in the 70s in Europe and the UK. This album is tremendous. Brian Wilson's still an active member at this point, although Carl's taking it over. Dennis Wilson has his standard on here, his gold standard forever. This whole world, add some music to your day, songs that they still play live today.
So Dennis has a track on there that he does lead vocals on?
Oh yeah, one of his best well-known songs ever.
Cool.
Forever. And Dennis was really a great songwriter who was really just starting out. But Bruce Johnson's on here with a great song called Deirdre. All I Want to Do, Tears in the Morning, Cool Water, which was a Smile left over. just a great album, start to finish. Some rockers on it, some nice ballads. There's our friend. Sunflower is good, but it's No, the Beach Boys Love You. Well, it's not. You're right. But I would call this, we were talking about power pop. This is sunshine pop. This is a good, this is a great, this is a reissue. And this was their first record when they had left Capitol. Okay. They did 20 albums for Capitol. They dropped them.
Oh, wow.
And they signed a deal. They did a deal with Warner Brothers. And this was the first album for Warner Brothers.
And that was like less than 10 years or so, right? They did 20 albums for Capitol.
61 to 69. Yeah.
Wow.
So tough period for the Beach Boys. They're not so hot in their home country. They're thought of as a surf band, but I'm telling you, musically, their stuff was on point and just as good as anything else anybody was doing at the time. And the people in this country didn't get it, but the people overseas in Europe did. And they knew that the albums that the Beach Boys pumped out were Sunflower, Surf's Up, Carl and the Passions, Holland. All those early 70s records were absolutely tremendous pieces of music, and they're now represented on that box set, which just came out a few weeks ago from this period as well. And Matt, Robert S. is not a fan. That's okay. Matthew Smith says it should have been number one. I agree with you, partner. That's a cool, low-key, chill album, couple of rockers, and but again, high praise indeed. Nice gatefold cover.
Define a Beach Boy rocker.
A Beach Boy rocker. There's plenty. Student demonstration time.
No, I mean, but what I mean is define it. I mean, how rocking is a Beach Boys rocker? Do you know what I mean? Is it like a mid-tier McCartney rocker, or is it like a Junior Farm rocker? I mean, is it?
I wouldn't call it a junior. I wouldn't call it a Junior Farm. I'd call it mid-tier.
Okay.
They get rocking pretty good on some songs for sure. Junior's Farm, I wouldn't put them on that level of rockers, but they have a couple. They have a couple for sure. But that was number 7, right?
7,
10, 9, 7. So 6 for you, partner.
6 for me. Oh boy, this is where it gets interesting. Some people will go Selling England by the Pound. Some go Foxtrot. Some go
Nursery Crime.
Nursery Crime for me.
Oh boy,
Genesis. This is, I think, by far my. I mean, I listen. All those other albums are great.
You need to listen to them more, though.
Yeah, I do. But but I am just still so engaged with this record, especially the bookend songs 1 and 7. For me, are just, the musical box is just wonderful. I mean, I love the lyrics. I love the nursery rhyme theme to it, and I love the whole, she's a lady, she's got time, brush back your hair,
my song.
let me get to know your face, and then the follow-up, she's a lady, she is mine, brush back your hair, let me get to know your flesh. I love what he did with that live, dressing up as an old man,
and then ripping it off.
Yes, brilliant.
Nerd alert. Tom and I majorly geeked out to this song driving around in Phoenix when I was out there, blasting it on his radio, pounding on the steering wheel. We just, we had a good time with that song. But
and then it ends with, all those touch me. It was just so powerful. I remember in the early days of YouTube, I discovered them doing, was it for Dutch TV? Those 5 songs that they did.
Yes.
This one, and then they did my other favorite, The Fountain of Salmacus.
Fountain of Salmacus, along with.
I've heard it pronounced so many different ways. But that one too. And if you watch Tony Banks' finger moving during that opening, his opening keyboard riff on that song, it's just, I don't know how he gets his fingers to do what he does.
Incredible.
And my God, Mike Rutherford, his bass playing on this album too. I mean, he was just a phenomenal bass player. Not only is he a great guitar player, but he's just a kick-ass bass player.
Very underrated bass player.
Yeah, yes. I love Peter's lyrics or his vocals throughout this whole album. Now, Phil Collins added so much to the vocals on this, starting with this album.
And that is Phil Collins' debut record appearance on Genesis.
Steve Hackett. Same with Steve Hackett. And the maybe the almost underrated track on here is thanks to Phil Collins and Steve Hackett for Absent Friends.
Absent Friends,
Beautiful
absolutely.
acoustic ballad, a beautiful acoustic guitar playing from Steve, and beautiful singing from Phil Collins.
Phil, absolutely,
Phil,
yeah.
Seven Stones is another favorite that I really like, and I just love the fun.
Harold the Barrel.
Is just a lot of fun.
That's a fun song. That's
Yeah,
just
it
a funny
is.
song.
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
So number this is my 6th, November 71,
Oh,
Charisma. This again,
Charisma.
yeah, again, this is their 3rd album.
Yes.
Only went to number 39 in the UK, which
Right.
is a damn shame.
They were
Didn't
still
chart
very,
here.
very, very, very small band, really. They every
Yes.
release they did a little bit better.
Right.
Of course, Foxtrot did a little better. Selling
Yep.
and
Sling
Living
Your
by the
Power Out
Pound
did a
did
little
better,
bit better. Yeah.
and so on and
Right.
so on and so on.
Right.
And of course,
Right.
but I knew that record would make an appearance in
Yeah.
there. I knew it would.
But see, the thing is, this didn't happen for me until I would say 2005, 2006.
So later.
So a little bit later. I mean, I mean, obviously knew all of those, those Phil Collins led
Oh,
albums,
sure.
but it wasn't until like the early 2000s when I finally
When you
started discovering the Peter
the
Gabriel
Gabriel era.
stuff.
Oh man, absolutely.
And this is just a phenomenal record.
Crazy
Phenomenal
cover
record.
too, right? With the
I
just with
love
the,
it.
yeah,
just
boom,
the whole
gone.
thing. The whole thing is really
Very
really
macabre,
cool.
very Genesis,
Yeah.
very very British.
Yeah.
That's everything about Genesis.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's my number 6.
Your partner wholeheartedly approves. All right, so that was 6 or 5. I'm losing count here.
It's 6.
So this is my
you're 6. That's
my
your
6
now.
Yeah. All right. Fast forward a couple of years from there, it changed the genres a little bit, not too much. A band that I love quite a bit, and I know that Ethan does too, although probably not this album, but I know he likes it, and that would be 1977, Electric Light Orchestra, Out of the Blue. Double album, man. This one right here. Probably the best known ELO album. Listen to me. Electric Light Orchestra, double album. It's got all the big hits on it. Turn to Stone, Mr. Blue Sky. But there's so much more better tracks.
Yeah.
Okay, you've got Jungle. You got Jungle. Stepping Out. Okay, side 2. I'm sorry, it's the second record. Okay, the entire Concerto for a Rainy Day, Standing in the Rain, Big Wheels, Summer and Lightning, and then capping it off with Mr. Blue Sky. That whole thematic thing. I mean, this is like. If you wanted the Beatles in the 70s, this is the closest thing you got to it. Sweet as the Night, The Whale, Birmingham Blues, and closing it off with Wild West Hero. I got to see Jeff Lynne and ELO a few times over the last few years. They played a couple tracks in this album. It was absolutely incredible. Just start to finish, everything about it. They kind of get labeled as kind of boring. A lot of their songs all sound the same. Their covers sound the same, but man, Out of the Blue from start to finish is a freaking fantastic
It's a phenomenal record. Very, very, very good pick. I approve. Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. And even again, the stuff that you don't hear as much, Jungle, Stepping Out, Big Wheels. I like those songs just as much as the hits, which you hear all the time.
Jeff Lynne produced it as well, didn't he?
Co-produced with Mac in Musicland, because they were in Munich for a lot of these albums. And Mac produced a lot of their album, co-produced. But of course, Lynn's productions all over these records.
Right. Absolutely.
Yes, Sweet as the Night. I'm sure. I'm curious how our viewers out there, if they're ELO fans or not. I think I saw a couple people mention ELO Out of the Blue, but it's been remastered a bunch of times, and an album that sold, just a ton in the 70s. Sure. And I might be, some of these picks might be pretty obvious. I'm not daring, but listen, I like what I like, right? I know what I like, which is a Genesis song too. So that was 6 for me.
That was 6. Let's take a look at a few people's 6s here.
Yes.
If you want to go above Robert S. There. Start with Jamie. Yeah, at the bottom there. 6.
Innuendo by Queen, which is a great album featuring the guitar work of Steve Howe on the title track, which is a great track.
Cool.
And a good album. Oliver, interesting choice. Okay. Knock Knock. Let's see. Tomorrow the Green Grass. Jayhawks, good band. Robert S. Hey, can't go wrong with that one. And I think we're going to get an appearance from this musician probably soon, I would think. Uh,
Uh,
let's see. I do wish 12 new
hey,
boots and
that's
panties.
a great pick. That's a really cool pick.
Tom Brennan. Aha. An album close to my heart, close to the edge. A perfect album, all 3 songs.
All 3. Is there only 3 songs on it?
That's it, brother. That's it. Nikki and that magazine. Purple Rain. Purple
Oh
Rain.
yeah.
Sergeant Pepper was the biggest. Oh, very cool. Let's see. Out of the Blue. Does it come with the cardboard spacecraft? Let's take a look. There's something in here. Let's see. I don't think so. Just the poster. Just the poster.
Okay.
So, all right.
All right.
5.
Top 5. Okay. Now,
here we go. Please don't be
now
the same one I have. Please don't be the same one I have. Please don't be the same one I have.
Listen, so if you're going by UK, this is the guy's 3rd record. If you're going by US, this is his 2nd record. And released October 70 in the UK.
I know
January
what this one
71
is.
in here. By far,
I know what it is.
my favorite Elton John record. Listen, there's times where you just like the albums that don't have any stinking hits on them. You know what I mean? And this album, I mean, except for Amarina, which which is like was maybe like a small hit, but Tumbleweed Connection from Elton John, and I know some people will say this is the hipster pick or whatever. I don't care, but Tumbleweed Connection,
it's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. It is just I mean, I just think it's just great writing. Creative, a lot of the music.
Come down in time.
Come down.
The
Yeah,
mission.
I love how it starts with "Ballad of a Well-Known Gun." "Come Down in Time" is beautiful. "Country Comforts" he did before.
Country Comfort.
Yes, before Rod the Mod did it.
Yes.
"Son of Your Father's Gun." I mean, every song on here is I think is just excellent. "Love Song," which is a beautiful, beautiful song. I love how it just the slow or the low quiet open and then it comes in, "Burn Down the Mission," Amarina, which is I mean, I first discovered the song Amarina from the movie Dog Day Afternoon. Yeah, see the macaroni there it goes.
Yes.
The first song I heard of Dog. That's funny how we said that at the exact same time. I remember watching Dog Day Afternoon and hearing the song, and then it was just like, wow, what a phenomenal song that just deserved to be a bigger, a big song. I mean, it deserved to be a hit.
So that you first heard Amarina in the movie.
Yeah, in the movie,
wow.
and this would be in the mid '90s. After that, I just started collecting all of his albums. His classic albums, to be exact. Some I love, some I don't necessarily love, but for the most part, that run from that, the self-titled, up to Blue Moves.
That 70, that's 69 to 70 to 76 period. My God,
exactly. I mean, the amount of music he was
how good
out.
How good is "Burn Down the Mission"? Then burn.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's my
another song we geeked out to.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we listened to Tumbleweed one day out there as well too.
Yeah,
tremendous pick.
So again, this number 5 in the U.S. actually. So I guess that was probably on the strength of the debut album.
I would think so because it did without any big hits on it.
Right,
so
right.
That's why it did on the strength of the first album. That's why it did well.
Probably, and just I mean, if you're a casual Elton John fan, give this a listen. I'm sure just about everybody here that's joining us right now has probably listened to this record, and it needs to be played often.
Robert S. Yeah, I discovered the song when the album was new. I'm that old. That's cool, Robert. Oh man, only second to Madman, says Macaroni.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what, Madman, the first side of Madman is absolutely phenomenal. When you got Levon, Tiny Dancer, Madman, and Razorface, which I think is one of his great underrated songs of all time. Razorface is just a phenomenal song.
Love Razorface.
Yeah.
Love Razorface. Yeah, and very good. Let's remember, two Brits wrote a classic
Right,
American
classic
Western album.
American,
Absolutely.
Americana. This is Americana, yeah, kind of. Absolutely, absolutely. All right, Andy froze again, unfortunately. So just me talking. Um, yeah, Kevin, I agree. Madman runs out of gas. I mean, that first side I think is just absolutely brilliant.
You think
Um,
Madman runs out of gas, Tom?
I think after the first side, I think side two is just a little weak. It's just a touch
Come
weak.
on,
I mean,
Holiday
yeah,
Inn and
I know, buddy. I know, but they're not just these. I mean, compared to side A, I mean, come on. I mean,
I think it's just as good. I think side two is
okay,
just as good. All
fair
the
enough.
nasties, goodbye.
Right, fair
Oh,
enough. Fair
home
enough.
home run. But I mean,
Mhm.
that first side is killer. I don't
Yeah,
disagree.
exactly.
It's a killer.
Yeah,
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 goodbye is good.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think
It's a
Madman
gorgeous.
start to
Yeah.
finish.
Mm.
Um,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Rotten Peaches,
Yes,
yes,
we talked about that before. Yeah,
absolutely. So you had Elton at 5.
I
I
had
have
Elton at
Elton.
5.
I have Elton at 5.
Excellent, but which one?
Okay.
Uh,
Which one? Again, this
uh,
might be obvious, but I don't give a shit. I
right,
really don't.
right.
Goodbye, Hilbert
Everybody else
Road.
road. Yep.
This is it. Okay, I have a lot of double albums in the top 5. 4
Mm,
actually. um,
right.
and actually all of them, all 4 double albums are all from the same year,
Wow.
1973.
Oh
Ooh.
shit.
Yep, all except the other one, except one. So
Mm,
this is the reissue. Goodbye, Elbrook Road. Again, an obvious pick, but I mean, how Funeral for a Friend, Love Lies Bleeding. I don't care. From
right.
30 years ago, tomorrow, it is the best opening of an Elton John album live
Great,
show.
great, 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 great opening. Yeah.
Very proggy, so of course I love it. But I mean,
Mm,
even the stuff you don't hear is okay. So Candle in the Wind, Benny and the Jets, which are songs that I'm sure everybody's tired of hearing, but this song has no title.
right.
Fantastic. Ray Seal.
Oh
Jamaican
yeah.
Jerk Off.
Yeah.
Okay. I've seen that movie too. Awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet Painted Lady. How about the
Sweet
ballad,
Painted Lady is excellent song.
right? How about the
Mm,
ballad of Danny Bailey? That
right.
Danny Bailey's tremendous song.
All
Dirty
the
Little,
young girls loved Alice.
yeah. Your Sister Can Twist. Saturday Night. Okay. Roy Rogers and Social Disease and Harmony. I mean, come on.
I love Harmony. I think Harmony is a great track on there.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, and again, he recorded this at the Chateau in France, like in what, 2 weeks? The whole thing was done in 2 weeks. I mean,
that's
and
phenomenal.
2 weeks, the whole thing was done. I mean, and this is the Elton John band when they really kind of come together. Davey,
Right,
Nigel, D. Murray,
right,
all those guys. I mean, they were at the top of their game. And this is really, I mean, this is clearly the point where Elton really was not that singer songwriter like he was
right.
with the early albums,
Oh,
Madman,
this is rock
Tumbleweed.
star. This is rock star Elton right here. This is arena filling
This is Elton
Elton.
John at the Hollywood Bowl with the 5
Right,
pianos and everything.
right.
But I mean, this is to musically, it is some of the strongest music. Let's see. What's this see here? Randy Newman said, "I brushed my teeth in the '70s, and Elton released 3 albums." Because he was always releasing something.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you, Timothy Murphy. Thank
Yeah,
you very much.
there's a few tracks on there that grow old. Benny and the Jets. Listen, as great as that is, there's a little fatigue. Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting is a little
Fatigued.
big, but I can listen to Goodbye, the title track.
Yes,
I can listen to that nonstop.
that one doesn't get old. Agreed.
No, it does not.
That one you could listen to. I mean,
No.
even as much as it, I think I could do the same thing with Candle in the Wind too.
Yeah, see, that's yeah.
That
No.
one's a little fatigued for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, this again, a great album. And again, listen to the stuff you don't hear as much. And again, got a great box set release a couple of years ago to celebrate, I think, the 40th release. So, which had some live stuff on it as well. But I mean, I actually remember I used to skip when I used to play Funeral for a Friend, Love Lies Bleeding. I used to play my dad's copy, and the beginning used to scare me with those synths. I used to just go right into Love Lies Bleeding because I used to
Really?
the beginning. I'm like, oh my god, that was they used to scare the hell out of me. But now, of course,
Yeah, that
that's like,
opening of the synth is kind of spooky, but then it does get really melodic and
oh,
beautiful.
it builds up and builds
yeah,
up and builds up,
yeah,
and then boom, the rose is in the wind.
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
man, I
yeah,
can just listen to it any day of the week.
yeah.
Um, so that's my 5. Let's just catch up on some comments here. Odessa. Ah, that's a nice pick there, Oliver. That's a very good album by the Beach Boys. Felt cover or no felt cover? There's nice pick. Tony has 5. Graceland, which I think had an appearance of mine 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Main course, a lot of Bee Gees love here, which is cool. Main course, great album. 5 for me is the Brian Wilson debut solo album. Good record. Let's see. Robert, Fatigue Factor is why Captain Fantastic made it. Yeah, that's it.
You got the one hit, now you got the one hit on there, which is another one of those hits where I can listen to. Someone Saved My Life Tonight is one of those songs that I can listen to over and over again.
That's one you don't get tired of, right?
Yeah, I don't get tired of that song. I think it's just all 6 minutes or however long it was is perfect.
Some songs, just even though they're they don't get the fatigue factor.
Right.
Jesus Christ Superstar. That's, of course, it's allowed. That's nice pick. That's a very good.
Yeah, very great. Cool.
And,
awesome.
You're up, brother.
All right, 4. Oh boy. Okay, here
heavy
we go.
hitters. Heavy hitters.
Yeah. Judas Priest. David, my cousin David, introduced me to Judas Priest. I've always known Judas Priest. But he really introduced me to, the albums of Judas Priest. He said, check this out. I mean, so the one album that I'm so glad that I ended up checking out was their second album, and that's called Sad Wings of Destiny. Now, this is, you can tell this, you can say this is kind of the birth of heavy metal, but there's still some bluesy aspect of it. A lot of the English band, I've been so amazed by all these Brit bands that were so big fans of the blues. It just amazes me how many Brit bands are blues freaks.
Fanatics.
Yeah, exactly. And their first album is very bluesy. This still has a little blues into it, but it's still it's starting to see the creation of what heavy metals was going to become. And even though it's more hard rock than it, but you still get some elements of heavy metal. This was March of '76. Again, this was their second album, and Rob Halford's vocals are just amazing on tracks like Victim of Changes, and then The Ripper, which is about Jack the Ripper, and then the Island of Domination, Tyrant. Those classic Rob Halford vocals start with this album. I mean, if you know him from You Got Another Thing Coming, or Rockin' After Midnight, or anything like that, he really lets his vocals go on this record. And this, like I said, this is their second album. It's called Sad Wings of Destiny. And again, March of '76, my favorite hard rock heavy metal record, hands down, at this point in time in my life.
That's the number one. That's the gold standard. Number one heavy metal record for you?
Number one heavy metal record for me right now. Yeah, absolutely. Sad Wings of Destiny, Judas Priest.
Good pick, brother. I don't know. They're up there. They're always up there for you.
Yeah.
Where do they rank in your all-time bands, Tom?
Oh, they're top 5 band for me.
Top 5 band for you. Okay.
Yeah. If we're not including Beatles or
something. Outside of them. Yeah.
Right.
Top 5 band.
Top 5 band. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Catch up on some comments here. Between the Buttons, Rolling Stones, Matthew Smith, for Tony. Tony has the Who's Next by the Who. Love that one. Great. More love for Graceland too by Paul Simon, which is I
need to revisit that record. I mean, I've seen a lot of love for it over the last 3 weeks, and
yes, absolutely. You should. I think you would dig it, Tom, because you're into all that different kind of soul stuff and all different rhythms and stuff. I think you'd like it. The Jam, an appearance by the Jam, great band from the UK.
Yes,
like that. Robert has an album by the Cure.
Wow, actually, wow, that is great. Head in the Door would probably be mine if I was to put a Cure album in there. But Wish, man, great pick.
Cure.
Wow.
I love seeing the oddball picks. That's
right.
Or the ones, not to say oddball, but the ones you think you're going to see.
Right, exactly.
Cool. Absolutely, really the Jam. Go ahead, Tom.
I got to work a week at the Hollywood Bowl that the Cure was doing, and they ended up doing, it was like three rehearsal days and then 3 show days. And my God, what a great week that was, just to hear the rehearsals, and then hear Robert Smith singing those classic Cure songs.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yes, Tony. It's a great mix of pop and artistic expression. Absolutely is. Yeah, revisit that one, brother. I think you'll like it. Yeah, I knew Ethan would love the Jam. Paul Weller, absolutely incredible. I like this one here by Tom Brennan, the McVicker soundtrack by Roger Daltrey.
Wow.
That's a deep pull. Very cool, Tom
Right.
Brennan. You got to be a deep Who fan to pull that one. All right.
All right, you're up for 4.
4. Okay. This is an album that was not in the top 10 of my top 10 of all time, probably until a year or two ago.
Okay.
That's how much this album has meant to me as somebody who's dived down the rabbit hole with this artist. And I had to pick. I was picking a few times. Tom had an album by this artist, I think last week in his 11 through 20. I almost went with that same album, but this one just speaks to me much more. And I've played it a hell of a lot more than that one. Although that one he picked, the album that Tom picked, Blonde on Blonde, was classic. But for me, I have to go with Bob Dylan's Modern Times from 2006.
Yes.
Tom seen me talk about this album. He's heard me play it in the background when we're talking and doing our pre-show stuff. And he's like, "What are you playing?" And I'm like, "Modern Times." And Tom's like, "I know I've seen it. I probably heard it." I'm like, "You got to get it." Blonde on Blonde, the 60s albums, to me, this album is as good as Bob Dylan has ever done in the 60s, the 70s, Blood on the Tracks, you name it. This album is as good as anything on that record. Thunder on the Mountain, great. Spirit on the Water, great. Okay, one of the best songs he's ever done. It's almost, I call it his version of doing McCartney, Working Man's Blues too. That's like Dylan channeling McCartney melodically. You know, Paul's gift for melody is crazy.
Right.
Working Man's Blues #2 is absolutely an incredible song. I think I checked on my iTunes. I think I've played it like 102 times in the last year.
That's great.
It's incredible. Okay. That's it. Beyond the Horizon. Great. Nettie Moore. Okay. The song Nettie Moore, which is a song that I think he won it helped him win the Nobel Peace Prize, the lyrics in that song. Fantastic. When the Deal Goes Down, The Levee's Gonna Break, Someday Baby. Awesome album, start to finish.
Is that split on 2 records?
The double LP is, yes. It's split onto 2 records. It is.
Right.
Let's see. Yeah. Oh, that a great review. Yes, he did. And I almost went with Time Out of Mind from '97 because I almost went with that one because that one's great too. Absolutely would have. But Modern Times to me is an album. Again, I've known it for a little less than 2 years, but I've gone through the entire Dylan discography 10 times over in that time span. And I just can't help but keep coming back to Modern Times and how good it is. Love and Theft, of course, in 2001 also was good. I mean, this is part of the Dylan revival, and this is right in the middle of this period. And again, you could probably find this fairly cheap for $30 on Amazon, Tom. The vinyl.
No, I've seen it a bunch of times at the In-Groove.
Yeah, the In-Groove has it. I mean, you love Dylan. I really recommend you pick this one up and listen to it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Give it a deep listen and just listen to it. But Modern Times, yeah, it's just I could play this album 5 times a week and not get tired of it at all. But that's my number 4.
Excellent. Very good. Yeah, I was wondering where you would go with
Dylan.
With Dylan, yeah.
Yeah. All right, the top 3.
The top 3. These by far are some of the albums that I've listened to the most over the last 20 plus years. I would say neither of them, tire of me. I just, what can you say? Last week I think you went with More, right?
Floyd? No,
Metal. You went Metal. Yeah. See, I could have done Metal. I could have done Obscured by Clouds.
What did we go with? What did we go with for Floyd? Let's see.
Listen. You just can't deny the power of Dark Side of the Moon.
Okay.
You just can't. I mean, those albums that came before this, all had great moments. Sprinkled throughout, for me, in my opinion, sprinkled throughout those albums. But this is like, it's just a complete album. I mean, we all know it, concept, whatever. It's just from top to bottom. Although I am a little tired of Money, but other than that, this album from start to finish is just
on the run.
It's an adventure. I mean, it's just a nonstop adventure. There's always something to marvel at when you're listening to this record. and especially with headphones, I mean, you might even catch something on headphones that you might not hear if you're just listening to it on a regular car, stereo or car
You'll
stereo.
even hear a
You
member of
know,
Wings if you listen to it on
yes,
headphones.
you will.
And there's the Beatle connection
And
to
there's
Two
the
Legs.
Beatle connection. Yeah, I mean, I do think this is Pink Floyd at their best. I still, I would have loved to have picked Obscured by Clouds, because that's kind of like my, my hidden gem kind of record. I was so crazy for that record when I first discovered Obscured by Clouds. But then you listen to Dark Side of the Moon, and then I mean, everything just works for this record. And
Favorite
what you
track on
say?
it? What's your favorite track
Oh,
on it? Time? Mine's Time.
probably, yeah. Us and Them is phenomenal. Brain Damage is phenomenal. Time, yeah. Time is probably,
Time. Oh.
yeah, is the song that you just,
And
dig
I
in the
know, like,
way,
people might say that's so obvious. That's like me going
Yeah,
with Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. That's
yeah,
again, that's the same year. I mean, what an
yeah,
incredible year for music.
yeah.
73. You can't deny the power of
No,
that
no,
record. I
no.
know.
Time is, ticking away the moments to make up the dull day. I mean, the whole song is great. But it's funny. I was working one of the old restaurants I used to work at. We had this senior citizen kind of gathering, and it was kind of like a date night or
Oh
whatever like
God.
that. It was kind of like those old those dating sites, all these dating sites now. So this was kind of like a dating thing, back then, probably in the mid-90s or late 90s, whatever. And they're playing Us and Them, and then just people were slow dancing left and right to the song. I'm
Are
like,
you
what are
kidding
you
me?
shooting? No, it was the trippiest thing I ever saw in my life. People slow dancing
Us,
to the song,
us,
and
us,
us and them.
and them,
Exactly.
them.
But
God damn.
yeah, but Brain Damage, I think, is a phenomenal track as well. So yeah, I mean, that everything that went into this album just totally, it's just a mind blower. When you listen to this album,
Absolutely. It's a really
stoned or sober, it doesn't
it's a
matter.
it is, no matter how you slice it, it's a rite of passage album
Right,
in
right.
somebody's
March,
music.
yeah,
It really
yeah,
is.
yeah. March of '73, Harvest, their 8th album. So yeah, it's just yeah,
Yeah.
it's class. It's
Robert
classic.
Robert S. I was old
Right.
enough to remember Dark Side Was New. I was in high school. We'd have listening parties. Yeah.
That's cool.
Were they
That's
just listening parties, or what was else going on there, Robert?
What was
With
else
that
going?
with that record playing? What were the odds? I don't know.
Uh,
Oh boy.
oh,
Man. Catch up on some rankings here.
yeah.
London Calling by The Clash. Okay, I do
All
wish.
right.
Asia, of course, the self-titled by Tom Brennan. Good picks, good picks. Neil, we got an appearance by Neil in somebody's
Yep.
top 3.
Excellent.
Tonight's
Excellent.
good
Excellent.
choice. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Tony Loughlin has Ziggy Stardust, which was in my top bottom of the for there. Robert has, I'm sure I did. All righty. Nice pick, partner.
Yeah.
All right, number 3.
So number 3 for you.
Staying in that proggy realm, I'm going to just jump ahead a year. And Tom had Nursery Crime.
Yeah.
I am going with The Lamb, Lies Down on Broadway.
Yeah.
Another double LP. More prog. Now, this, I'm gonna force my partner to listen to this album if it kills him. From start to finish.
I have.
It's a tough listen. I'm not going to deny it. It has moments. Okay,
it does have some great moments. I'm
going to say it has moments on the second side where if you're not really hardcore with it, you could think it might be petering out of material. And that's somebody who loves the record, but I love it through and through. It's crazy record. I still don't know what much of it means, but it sounds great. I mean, double album. Gabriel's swan song with Genesis. I really don't think he could have done anything with the band.
He almost didn't finish it. They almost didn't. I mean, he left the band like
he
midway
did.
Midway
he
through.
He left the band during it twice, actually, to go maybe do a film with William Friedkin, who had done The Exorcist, and then said, "Well, I don't want to break the band up. Just go back and do it." Yeah, this is a repressing. This is a 2010 repressing here. Yeah, this is William Friedkin. So. Man, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. Cuckoo, in the Cage. Grand Parade of Lifeless Packaging. I think Counting Out Time is great. Carpet Crawlers. They did
Right.
things with the Chamber of 32 Doors.
Right.
I mean, there's some wacky stuff on this record. The Waiting Room. That sounds like that sounds like something out of a scary movie. And listen to that. It's crazy. I mean, but I think Phil Collins loves this record. I know that this album was also made at the same place where Zeppelin recorded the fourth album at Headley Grange, which was this haunted house where they recorded it. But I mean, it's a concept album. It could be over the top. I mean, a song like The Colony of Slippermen, I mean, that song is ridiculous. I mean, and it's just a shame that there's no live footage of this tour that was shot. There was no real true live concert on film of the Lamb tour, and that's a shame because it was the last one for him. But I mean, everything about it. And again, a lot of people, I know Tony Banks does not like this album a lot because he felt that Gabriel had too much of a heavy hand to write the lyrics, and Genesis was a much more democratic songwriting thing.
Let's just face it. Banks was jealous of everyone.
Yes. He was jealous of it. And Gabriel's thing was, look, how many co-writers of books are there? And he was writing a story about this. And it's Banks did not have the ability to really shine on. Now, musically, he flourishes on this keyboard wise, but obviously he didn't have the input to write anything on here. But Lily White Lilith, I mean, Hackett shines beautifully on this record too. In spots. The Lamia, I mean, that's a tremendous song. And again, I'm a sucker for concept albums and big, heavy prog stuff. I mean, and the Lamb, it is an acquired taste, this record. I'm not going to lie, but it's got brilliant moments of pop to it. Heavier stuff. Again, Counting Out Time and the Carpet Crawlers. Those are pop songs, Again, listen to Fly on the Windshield, and that's a great moment in Genesis where it just comes flying right into your face. Boom. But again, a heavy record, but I could have went with Selling England by the Pound. I was thinking about it, but I had to be true to myself and stick to what has, moved me the most. And that's the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway from 1974.
Right. Well, Tom, I tell you, The Wall is look, The Wall is great, but I don't love it the way I love Dark Side of the Moon. I don't think all of it is great either, and that's another one where it's all Roger Waters. I mean, isn't it? Where you really don't get any, you're not getting a lot of vocals from Gilmore on that record.
On The Wall.
Yeah, on The Wall.
Yeah, that's all Waters.
Just like The Lamb was Peter Gabriel, Right. So it's just so Waters heavy, on that record, There's some great guitar playing from David Gilmour, but it's just, I don't think it's as enjoyable as Dark Side.
Let's catch up on some comments here. Lucas says, let's see, Spike by Elvis Costello is history. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Let's see. Robert says that album is too proggy for me. Yeah, see, it's not everybody's cup of tea. Spike, let's see. Surprising Elvis pick. Too much info on The Wall. Dark Side is the perfect album. Yeah, for sure. The Wall, an album that kind of goes on and has one kind of theme throughout it. So it either resonates with people or it doesn't. So we are down to the final two.
Number two for me. I've had a couple. I had one country record on part 3, one on part 2. This is my all-time favorite country record. Play it nonstop. Luckily, my wife's a huge fan of this record as well. So every time when we play it, we just have a great time with it. We got to see Willie Nelson live back when we lived in Chicago, and he played one of the songs on here. He has done this whole album live, which I do have. I think the Record Store Day release. In June or July, it came out with the live version of this record. And this is May of '75. This is from Columbia. This is Willie Nelson's 18th record by 1975. And it's called The Red-Headed Stranger.
There it is.
Now, this is, I would say, probably a concept album as well. Willie's a preacher. His wife leaves him, finds her with another man. So then it's, now he's, looking within himself and trying to, does he do the right thing? I mean, this is back in the old West, people got killed, you know what I mean? So this is him looking inside of himself, and and what does he do? I mean, they actually made a movie out of this album as well, starring Willie Nelson.
They did? When that came
Yeah, I
out?
think that's the late 70s. I think it came out. And it's not bad. So Willie Nelson, phenomenal playing on this record. His sister is a phenomenal piano player, country western piano player. It's just an all around great record. Again, it's a concept, and I dig it. I think if
What's the mood of the record, Tom? Is it like
it's
low
somber?
key?
It's somber, low
Somber.
key.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously his wife left him.
Right.
So there's a little somberness of it, kind of violent in some places, hokey, country western. So it's, I really dig it. I discovered this probably around 2002, I want to say. I discovered this record, and yeah, thank you. Yeah, and it's just, if you are a fan of Willie Nelson, if you don't know this one, please check it out, called The Red-Headed Stranger. And this is, I think, the height of his powers at this moment. This is where he really took off as a solo artist. I mean, he wasn't really well known as a solo artist. He's more known as a writer.
As a writer, sure.
Yeah, as a writer, but his solo stuff wasn't doing well. And it wasn't until this album when his solo career finally took off. This is number 2 on the it went number 28, I think, on the regular Billboard charts, but it was a top 5 in country charts.
Oh, of course. Yeah, it did very well in the country charts. Yeah.
So yeah, just all together amazing, record for me.
Yeah, I'm not surprised you had a country album that high up. As I learned, you guys you love your country.
Well, classic country.
Classic country, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a great one, Robert. I think you'll really dig it, Robert.
Cool. Yeah. All right, cool. So we'll just catch up on comments here. Okay. Split Milk by Jellyfish. Can't say that I've heard of that, Lucas, but very cool. Another one here. Radis, I don't know how to say it. The Stranglers. All right. Hotel California by the Eagles. Wore that out back in the day. I'm didn't everybody. Yeah. Knock Knock had Born to Run by Bruce. Okay. His one of his best albums. Let's see here. Let's see. All the Bruce albums worked. Absolutely agree with that. Okay.
Yeah, you got the Beatles connection with Jellyfish. A couple of them played on a Ringo record.
Oh, there's a connection.
Yep.
All right, so we're getting down there. Number 2 for me.
2 for you. Yeah, let's see it.
Okay.
Is it yes?
It is. It is. And this is 1973's Tales from Topographic Oceans. Now, this may not be the most obvious choice. This is the one that either people love or people hate. Why do they hate it? Because there's only 4 songs on this record, and they're all 20 minutes long each. But this, now listen, I thought about going with the Yes album, okay, which is the early hit one with
classic.
I've Seen All Good People, Starship Trooper, the big ones, right? The easy ones. But that's not how I discovered the band. I discovered the band through this record. And you're going to ask how an album so inaccessible hooked you. And the simple truth is that I remember going through the album going, how could there only be 4 songs on it and there being 20 minutes each? And the first song is called The Revealing Science of God. It's 20 minutes and 27 seconds long.
Jeez.
It has changed. That song changed my life. I mean, I've seen this band live 35 times over 20 years.
Wow.
35 times. Tales, thank you, Oliver. I've seen the band has changed my life. On spiritually, emotionally. It's some people go to church. I don't need to go to church. I can put this record on and it gives me what I need. It's like the Lamb. It's challenging. There's all kinds of stuff going on at long instrumentals, solos, drum solos, but fantastic singing from John Anderson throughout the whole thing. Again, it's very, very, very spiritual music. There's a lot of religious overtones to a lot of this music. but the concept really is just about, love and peace, really, at the end of the day, through all of it. It's thematic, there's parts of it that are poppy. There's parts of it that are like really, really deep. And the music, I mean, listen to side 2, the Remembering, again, which just goes on for a while, but then side 3, the Ancient, which kind of really is a kind of foray into kind of world instruments and stuff going all over the place, but then ends with a nice little acoustic ballad. And then the album wraps up with the big ritual side 4, which kind of just is basically a rehash of side 1 a little bit, where all the themes are repeated a little bit.
Okay.
But it's thematic. I mean, Rick Wakeman hated playing on this album. Okay. He did not like it. In fact, he walked out of the sessions and went on Sabbath's. He went to Black Sabbath's session and played on. He went and played on Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath instead.
Nice.
Because he just couldn't stand this record. He hated playing it at the time. So Rick Wakeman's on that album as well. Now, Rick has made his peace with this album and has played almost all of it in concert with the band. And I could say I've seen many of those shows, and he's at peace with it now. And it's a heavy record.
So with all songs being over 20 minutes long, I guess there was no single from the.
They did not. They did not pull any single from it at all. But I'm sure the FM stations that played album-orientated rock back then did play it. And again, to me, side 1, The Revealing Science of God, is as good as Close to the Edge or I've Seen All Good People or any of those songs. Again, but I'm a diehard Yes fan, so I could have went safe with Fragile or the Yes album or something, but I had to stay true to my core, and the Tales from Topographic Oceans for me is now Tom Brennan thought I would have went with Fragile or Going for the One. Going for the One, maybe, but again, you have to. This album has been a constant in my life since I was 14, years old, and I've played it thousands of times. So we're picking our top 10 to 1, and this is it for me. Awesome artwork by Roger Dean.
Always great artwork on Yes Records.
Awesome kind of very futuristic stuff on there as well. Going for the One is awesome too. I agree. But for me, the Tales from Topographic Oceans is that's my number 2.
Excellent. Wow. All right. So before we get to our number 1s, we decided to show a couple honorable mentions that these albums, maybe they could have made the list. Should they have made the list? Absolutely, these should have made the list. But unfortunately, we didn't put them in the top 30. If we had a top 40, absolutely, these albums would have made this list for sure. So I'll start off here.
Go for it.
Everybody has Deja Vu. Was picking Deja Vu. I love the opening. I love the debut Crosby, Stills and Nash record. And you know what? We were talking about Graham Nash last week, and the Graham Nash song that I was thinking of is on this record. And it's called "Lady of the Island," which I think is just absolutely brilliant. My 2 favorite Crosby, Stills and Nash songs of all time, Guinevere and "Helplessly Hoping." 2 of my absolute favorite tracks from them. Obviously, you can't go wrong with "Long Time Gone," "Wooden Ships," and obviously "Sweet Judy Blue Eyes." Can't go wrong with any of those. I wanted to include Neil Young, and if I did, it would have been "After the Gold Rush."
Oh man,
which is just phenomenal record. I think this was his 3rd record at that time. And I think we did get one comment about no women in our list.
Yes, we did.
I would have had this record.
Olivia? Oh, I was gonna say that. Oh, I thought,
this.
Okay.
Yeah. Listen, Olivia's. Everybody knows. I don't know if everybody knows, but I'm a huge Olivia Newton-John fan. But this record for me is phenomenal. Some of the Gibbs' best writing, I think, is on this record. Barbara sounds fantastic. This I was really wanted to include on my list. And then lastly, another band that I love from the 80s, the Smiths. And this is "The Queen Is Dead." Absolutely love it. I love just about every song. I think there's only one song. There's only one song on here that I really don't care for, but everything else on here I think is excellent. Yeah, guilty. Thank you. Listen, the Gibbs wrote some magnificent songs for other people, and then this album is no exception. top notch A+ record.
Very nice. So you went with
Yeah.
CDs for your honorable mentions.
Well,
Okay.
it's just because they were just close by.
Okay.
I just didn't want to pull the records out.
Yeah. All right. Real quick, I'll
Yeah.
go through my 4 as well. I'm a Jersey guy. Okay. So I had to get these guys in their list somewhere. Would have liked to get them in there. It's another greatest hits. Okay. I love
Right.
me some Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons.
Ah,
All right. I love it. This is a
right.
great. Let's Ragdoll. Let's hang on. Ronnie.
Right.
Silence is Golden Dawn. Listen, a Jersey guy. Listen,
Right.
the Four Seasons had to get in there somewhere. So they couldn't have made it as well. This one nearly cracked it, but just couldn't. And that, of course, is this
Oh
one.
yes. Yep.
This
Phenomenal
one,
record.
just
Yeah.
wish you could have got in there. Layla, of course, Derek and the Dominoes, 72.
Maybe it was all the Whitlock bashing, and maybe that's why.
Maybe. This one, I had it in the bottom 30, and then I pulled it out for something else. But that would be this one here, Breakfast in America.
Ah, yes, yep.
Supertramp, love this record. FM, their biggest album of all time. And then, of course, last but not least, good old Morrison Hotel.
Okay, that's the one you went with, huh?
Yeah, that's the one I went with for this. This should have just, I wish, but it could have made it more. Love Morrison Hotel, Waiting for the Sun, Peace Frog.
Peace Frog is just phenomenal track. See, I probably, if I had the Doors in there, I probably would have had the bookends, either the debut or the final.
Or the final one.
Yeah, the final one. But Peace Frog, I adore Peace Frog.
Great song.
Great rocker. And what's his name? The guitar player is so phenomenal. Such a underrated, underappreciated guitar player.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Number one.
All right. Number one time.
Truth. Listen, this is the oddball pick. No one's gonna think I was gonna pick this album, and I can tell you right now, I was not listening to this genre when my best friend introduced me to this album and this artist, and this is the reason why there's a connection, to a Jersey connection, and that's why I asked. Thank you, Knock Knock Krieger. Yes, there's a connection because this album was recorded at Van Gilder Studio in Inglewood Cliffs. I didn't know how far. I wanted to see how far you were from.
Not far.
Yeah. So if I ever get out there, maybe I want to drive to that. And this might be what you consider a hipster pick. I don't care.
What we got?
Let me get it out of here.
Come on.
This, and like you with your Yes album, this will just hit me.
Before you show it, how long have you had the album in your collection?
Mid-90s.
Oh, so a long time. Okay.
Mid-90s. And by that, not only was I listening to the Beatles, but I was also listening to a lot of, heavy metal. Grunge was still going a little bit for me. It's just, a lot of different music I was listening to, except for this genre. And this one kicked it off for me. I mean, so this is called Love Supreme by John Coltrane. Probably the second most noticeable jazz musician behind Miles Davis. And like you, this hit me just by surprise with that Yes album. It's just a shock how impactful this album has been to me. I'm not really a spiritual person, but I mean, it was spiritual for him, and I can get a little bit of that. And this is kind of like avant-garde jazz as well. So it's not your classic, 50s, kind of dance jazz, if you will. Yeah, exactly. And I was really kind of curious to see what people would think by this pick. And this is the album that I've listened to the most over the last 20.
Now, what year did it come out?
This came out in January 65 on the Impulse label. And this was, I think, 2 years before he passed.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So this John Coltrane played tenor sax on here. This was his classic quartet of McCoy Tanner on piano, Jimmy Garrison on bass, and Elvin Jones on drums. And it's just, it just was not your conventional jazz album. I mean, it was just really, John Coltrane was kind of pushing the what you could do with jazz and what you could do with the tenor saxophone. And the band is phenomenal. He's phenomenal on this, and it's 4 pieces. Just like your Yes record, but it's not a double, so it was a longer piece, and then a couple smaller pieces as well. But But let me pull this
How
out
often
here.
do you go back to it often, Tom?
Yeah, because it's all on my iPod too. So there's a lot of times where I'll just play it when I'm at work, just to kind of to kind of see how people react to it. Thomas, there you go. Yeah, but it starts off with this piece called Acknowledgement, which is just it's a 7.5 minute piece. Gorgeous. It just he comes off right off the bat. Coltrane does, and then the rest of the band comes in and does their thing. I love the bass playing. The piano player is excellent throughout the whole album as well. And if you kind of like jazz, give this a shot. John Coltrane's A Love Supreme. It is. For me, it's just like you listen to it and you just really sometimes you just don't understand why it's so
And
impactful.
you don't
You know,
know, you're sometimes depends. You have to be at a certain point in your life to appreciate
right?
those genres of music.
Yeah,
You just
listen, I
do.
wasn't listening to jazz at all. I mean, jazz was the furthest thing from my radar at that time.
Sure.
But when I heard this record, it just made sense to me,
That's
And
what
there's yeah,
I'm like so impressed because Tom, your picks, you go from like metal heavy stuff
right,
to jazz. I'm a little more of a traditionalist, but your
right,
picks are
right,
so
right,
encompassing, and that's kudos
right,
to your taste, and you
right,
you have the ability to listen to all different genres, which is
right.
kudos to you, man. And that's awesome. Some people don't have the head for that, but you
Right.
do.
No, but yeah, but exactly though. But sometimes it does take time or a person, it'll take you by surprise, or sometimes it just will click. But yeah, jazz is something that I've come to really love, and my collection has been getting bigger with jazz. With some Miles Davis and Lee Morgan and Thelonious Monk. So
So
there's a bunch.
sure.
There's some great stuff out there. Whether or not you want to dig into it, it's up to you guys. But just there's some great stuff out there. There's some most of it is instrumental. There's some stuff that has vocals on it. There's one of my another favorite of mine from Coltrane has a vocalist named Johnny Hartman, who was a vocalist from the 40s and 50s, and just a smooth singer. Is a great ballad album. We played it during our wedding. So it's just
Oh, cool.
yeah. Thank you, Timmy. That's awesome. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad to hear that, Tim.
Cool.
That's
Let's just
great.
catch up on some. Tom, if you're done, let
Yeah,
me just catch up on some
yeah, go
number
ahead.
ones. Lucas has. Oh, that's a good pick there
Yeah,
by Harry.
yep,
Aerial Ballet, early one by him. Number one, Pet Sounds.
yep.
Okay.
Well, can't go wrong with that, I guess.
Physical Graffiti, classic. Highway 61, love
Yep,
it.
yep.
Let's see here. The Final Cut by Pink Floyd. Very interesting pick there. The last one, right? With the last one with Gilmore.
No. You mean Waters or
Um,
Gilmore?
no, I'm sorry, with Waters.
Yeah, I think that was the last one
Last
with
one with
Waters.
Waters, right? Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Ah, there we go. This had an Kinks that made a
Yep,
list that made a showing a few weeks back on Tom's list.
yep, yep.
Cool. All right. Okay. Number one for me. Okay. Have you ever been
Yeah.
a teenager and you've had teenage angst? And you like a classic rock fan? I'm sure you've listened to this album. I'm willing to bet that Robert S. has listened to this album many times because he's of that age.
Right.
So, and even though Yes is my second favorite band of all time, okay, after the Beatles, this group is number 3. But this album here, from the minute I heard it to now, still has influences me, even as an adult now, even as it did as a teenager. And that would be The Who's Quadrophenia from
Wow.
from 1973.
Yep.
Boy, what a freaking record.
Yeah.
Robert, I know what it is. What did he know before I was going to say it? Man, Quadrophenia. Okay, so this album is after Tommy. It's after Who's Next. It's really probably the last time the Who actually kicked ass. But I mean, they made a couple more albums with Keith Moon.
Right.
The Who, they did the Who by Numbers. They did the Who Are You. But in terms of like rocking and like being the Who, this album is it. This was their this was it. I mean, this is a concept album. Okay, and a lot of it gets lost on American audiences because it's a very British album. There's a lot of British slang in it. There's British. The lyrics are very British. So, but not lost on me. But I mean, man, very synthesizer heavy. So,
and that was an album. They put that into a film as well, right?
It came out. It came out and came out as a film in '79. Robert, Teenage Angst, and saying that, I knew it was all I needed to hear. I knew it. I knew he would know this. I knew he knew where I was going with this. I knew it. Difficult album for the band to play live because it was so complex. Okay. Glenn Johns was also helped out with a lot of this as well. Very synth heavy from Pete, but some of his best writing of all time on here. The Real Me, lots of songs that were just very instrumental as well. The title track, Quadrophenia. Let's see, The Rock, and of course the big hit on here was Love Rain or Me.
Exactly.
To close the album, but The Punk and the Godfather, The Dirty Jobs, Helpless Dancer, Is It in My Head, I've Had Enough. Where the main character of the story is this guy Jimmy, okay, who's a teenager in London and just going through normal teenage crap, right? And he uses music as his salvation. And he kind of gets into trouble and he runs with gangs and scooters and stuff. And there's a concept to the album. But musically, it's just as good. I mean, if you're not into the concept, the music is incredible. Somebody said that Eddie Vedder agrees with you, and Eddie Vedder loves The Who. Pete dug really deep for it. I mean, 515 was the other halfway hit.
Yeah, 515.
Right, but I mean, now Keith Moon even gets a vocal on here with Bellboy, with the track Bellboy. I mean, Pete's writing here. Dr. Jimmy, Roger's singing is incredible on here. Dr. Jimmy and Mr. Jim, when I'm pilled, you don't notice him. He only comes out when I drink my gin. I mean, those are some crazy, really lyrics. But I mean, thematically, it just ties it all together. You just listen, you put it on, and man, you can just get lost and listen, take this journey with this character, Jimmy. And the whole thing is that it's like Quadrophenia, because Townsend's idea was to really have all four members of The Who represented in this kid's personality. So that's what he was trying to go for. So
gotcha.
You look at the album, you listen to it. That's how he's trying to do for it. But it's an album that is timeless, and man, I could listen to it today, tomorrow, 10 years from now. I'll still feel the same. This, outside of the Beatles and Solo, this album is at the core of who I am and what it did for me, and it still does. It's just it's a tremendous record. And if nobody
what year was that?
1973.
73. Yeah. Wow.
1973. So a great one. Great year for music. Great year for music. Dark Side of the Moon, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road,
Red Rose Speedway,
Band on the Run.
On the Run.
So Mind Games. This, it's a great album, and I stand by my pick, and as Tom does with his pick as well. And if you don't know Quadrophenia, listen to it.
Right. Very good. Very, very, very good. Awesome, man. That's awesome. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us. So there's some people. What else? Other
let's catch up. Let's catch up on here. Let's see. Jamie says "Smile" by the Beach Boys, number one.
Okay.
Awesome. Totally agree with that. That's a great album as well. It changed you inside and out. Surfs Up. Love that. Let's see here. Beans. Hey, Beans. Tune in on the lunch break to put it out there. Forever Changes by Love, another great album that just missed mine as well. But Forever Changes, 1967, great. Here we go. The beach is a place where a man can feel as the only soul in the world that's real. Bellboy, thank you from me to you. Quad is a great listen to on a long drive. Absolutely. Let's see. No Monkeys or Partridge Family in the top 30. What a surprise.
No. Oh, Robert,
come on, get happy.
Yeah. All right. Well, while people are still here, I do want to make the announcement for our next live series. We're actually going to get back to the McCartney world for our next live series, and we are going to it's going to be a 5-parter, and this is going to be our not what we think are the best, but it is our Andy and I's. We each are going to have our own list, but this is going to be our 101 favorite Macca countdown songs. So our 101 favorite McCartney songs. We're going to do a countdown. It's going to be a 5-part series. It's probably going to start in 2 weeks. So if you guys want to join us, go ahead and get your 101 favorite McCartney songs down. I still need to put mine in order. I think I've got all my 101 songs down. I just don't. I haven't placed them yet. But
I only have 3 picks so far.
You still only have 3 picks.
That's it. That's it. Sorry.
Yeah. So part 1 will be 21 songs, and then the rest will be 20. And that's 5, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thank you, Manza Media.
Yeah. So 5-part series. Our 21, or I mean, our 101 favorite McCartney songs.
Will it be available on Hulu? 101 songs. My Love nowhere to be found. Okay.
Matthew Smith is not a fan of My Love.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We should get in touch with Hulu and see if we can stream this on Hulu or something like that.
Yeah. Thank you, Tom. Brennan.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm his best strumming on there. Yeah, we should.
Wow.
Yeah, well, it is. It's Keith Moon's last hurrah. It really is.
Okay. Because Who's Next was their last album with.
No, Who Are You? 1978.
Who Are You? Thank you. Yeah, Who Are You? Thank you.
Yeah, but he was really was losing his chops by then, and
really?
he couldn't. He was not the same Keith Moon. He really wasn't. I mean, even on tour in '73, he collapsed on stage, and Townsend had to call into the audience and have a fan come and finish.
That's right. I remember hearing that story. Absolutely. So, I love that, Kevin. Yeah, Salamanders, Dustbin
Lids. Oh,
yeah.
You know it. We're going to have it all in there. The whole kit and caboodle.
The whole kit and caboodle. Yeah, all of those are going to be in there. Disney Plus, yeah, we'll see if we can get this on Disney Plus. Yes, so 101 McCartney songs countdown. So this is just our favorites. Obviously, we're going to have different ones. All of us are going to probably have
unreleased songs or no?
No, they have to be officially released.
Damn. So no water spout.
No water spout. No Yvonne one. But they have to be officially released at some part. Whether it was released on what am I thinking of, the widescreen radio?
Ubu Jubu.
Yeah. So I mean, it could have been played on Ubu Jubu. Yeah, Wings are included. Absolutely. So this is
everything. When we talk McCartney, we do everything.
Yeah,
it's everything.
Yeah, exactly. So 1970 up to 2020 with McCartney 3, absolutely. And also another thing is McCartney has to be at least a co-writer on the song, and he has to at least sing one verse of the song. So you can include "I Lie Around" because he does sing a verse on
I'm
that.
I'm glad you told me about that rule.
Yeah. So yeah, he has to be on the vocals, and he has to at least be a co-writer on that. And so it could be something that's not on a McCartney record as well, as long as he was a co-writer and part of and singer on the song. So
okay.
But thank you, Robert S. Thanks for being here. We had a great time.
Yeah, good comments, Robert. Thank you, man.
Yeah,
funny.
Yeah. So everybody out there,
this was fun.
Take off. Yeah,
30 records, and we learned a little bit about
exactly.
That we do like music outside of the Beatles world. It
exactly. And it was great. I love seeing everybody's list. Thank you. I got some albums I need to listen to.
Same.
Exactly. So thank you, everybody. We might be here next week for a live show if we can. If not, things happen. If we can't be here, we can't be here. Unfortunately, no Wings of a Nightingale because he doesn't have vocals on that. So
no, and the only bootleg version was not released. So yeah,
right. So, But if you have questions about it, please message us on the Two Legs Messenger, and we'll definitely get with you guys on any questions that you'll have. You can message. Yeah, I'm going to announce this probably tomorrow on the Facebook, on our Two Legs Facebook page. And so if you have any questions, you can comment there, and I will be more than glad to answer them. So until next week or 2 weeks. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for this 3-part series. Andy, good seeing you as always.
You too, partner.
And
This was a lot of fun.
Yep. Be on the lookout for this Saturday for our next episode 140, where we talk about Back to the Egg with our friend Stephen Schnee. And everybody out there, have a great day and a beautiful night. Take care.